Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the visual pathway of the retina and how light travels through the retina. So first, there's three layers of the eye. The first layer is called the sclera. The second layer is called the choroid layer, and the third layer is called the retina. And this retina has
What's the purpose of the retina?
the retina basically it captures a light and it captures the light that enters the eye and then transfers it into images and like pictures so that we can see these pictures and images.
Okay.
And on the retina or behind the retina, there's like a tissue called the RPE, which stands for retina pigmented epithelium, and it's just a tissue behind the retina. And so the retina has three layers. The first layer that is closest to the retina is called the photoreceptor layer.
What's the point of the photoreceptors?
So photoreceptors is basically they convert light into signals that are sent into the brain.
And how
So
are they sent to the brain?
they're sent to the brain from the optic nerve, and the optic nerve is it connects the eye. Well, it transfers messages from the eye to the brain, and that's how they get sent. So these are called photoreceptors. And basically there's two types of photoreceptors. The first one is called the rod. And in rod you can see like black and white vision, and they are attached to the receptor called the rhodopsin. And then the next one is called the cone, which is it just like allows us to see color vision, and the receptor that they are attached to is called the iodopsin. So these are the photoreceptors. The next layer of the retina is called the bipolar cells. And basically the bipolar cells, they're like interneurons between the three actual like layers. So basically they connect this layer to this layer, which I will be drawing after. And there's two types of bipolar cells, on and off bipolar cells. And their on ones are it connects to a glutamate receptor, and then the off ones connect to a ionotropic receptor. So these are called bipolar cells. And then the last type of cells are called ganglionic cells, and they're underneath these bipolar cells.
So
And
what's the
basically,
difference between those cells and then the receptors?
so receptors are basically what these cells bind to. So the on receptors bind to, like, for example, for bipolar, the on receptors bind to the glutamate, and then the off ones bind to the ionotropic receptors.
Okay.
So the last one is called the ganglionic cells, and the ganglionic cells just convey info from the retina to the rest of the brain. And there's three types of ganglionic cells. One is called parvocellular, parvocellular, and this just contributes to info about the size, shape, and color. Next one is called magnocellular, and this one contributes to motion. And then the last one is called coniocellular, and this one basically just contributes to color information of your eye. So basically just converts information about color. And then back to the ganglionic cells. All these ganglionic cells, they connect to the optic nerve over here. And basically optic nerve is the nerve that sends information from from the eye to the brain. So they all connect to these. And then between the photoreceptors and bipolar nerves, there's a cell called the horizontal cell. And basically this cell causes lateral inhibition, and which is when the electrical signals is flowing, these cells change the electrical signal. And there's a similar one called the amocrine cell between the bipolar and ganglionic ganglionic cells, and they also do the same thing. So they change the electrical signal from the bipolar and from the bipolar to the ganglionic cells. So lastly, there's like two different pathways that are like how information is processed in the retina. There's like two different pathways. The first pathway is like the light movement pathway. So this light movement pathway goes from the ganglionic to the photoreceptors. Basically, it starts from the ganglionic cells and then passes bipolar and then goes to photoreceptors, and that's how the light moves from in the eye. And then the next pathway is called the visual pathway, and that goes the opposite way. So it goes from photoreceptors to to the ganglionic bubble. And that's basically the activation of the visual pathway. So when the visual pathway first activates, it goes first from the photoreceptors to the ganglionic cells. And those are the two like pathways of how vision is processed.
So, in simple words, what's the difference between those two pathways?
So this one right here, which is light movement, it's basically how we can like see how like light is processed from the eye. So it first crosses this layer of the eye, ganglionic, and then it goes to photoreceptors, and then it goes to like the sclera up here. And then this one over here, which is called like vision activation pathway. So this one basically like it goes the opposite way from photoreceptors to ganglionic layers, and that's how we can like process images, and how that's how like images like turn out from like what we see, and like how that's how like the vision works. So this is a pathway for that. Do you have any more questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you.